Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm really looking forward to spending some time with you. And today I'm going to share a panel card, but I thought I'd show you a slightly different way of creating it, and I'm going to use my stamp and stencil tool. So plump up your cushions, get that brew, and let's have a bit of a catch up. And I've got to be honest, I couldn't resist. I am going to use a couple of the new Elements ink colours. So this is the design, and I love this blending, seamless blending that we can get. Yellow to orange to pink to purple, sort of a lilac-y purple, and then into the blue. And we've got Bumble and Hum. So this all starts with a piece. Just let me put my card here. You know what I'm like, I need to see what I'm doing. And this is 7 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to use the Honeycomb Stencil. But what I am going to use, as I say, is my lovely tool. Now, my mat is nearly due to replacing, but I'm a bit of a, thrifty crafter, and it's fine. It's still tacky, but I tend to mark it. If you decide there's a good place for a card, just pop some little marks on. If you get ink on it, top tip, don't try and clean it, because to me it takes the tacky off. So mine's well used, but it's still going. And what I'm going to come in is with our lovely adapter tool here. And I'm so sad, look, I love the bag that it comes in. And I'm going to pop this on space number 2. Now just move it here so you can see. We will get a bit of reflection off the light just because obviously it's plastic. But you can decide where you put this depending, because we're going to attach our stencil to it, and depending where you want it. Now we have these clever little gadgets, and this is a universal stencil converter. And what this does is, this is it, look, and it just pops in the 2 holes there. And this is tacky, well, quite sticky. Oh, look, we've got an Eric hair. There's always an Eric hair. I do apologise. Those of you that don't have pets, all I can do is apologise. Now, I've used mine quite a few times. You take the tacky top off, but a little tip, don't throw it away. Pop it back on when you're finished, because you'll be able to reuse it. So I've got to be honest, mine did go in the bin, and then I thought, no. And all you do, look, is your stencil just fits on there, and you can put it exactly where you want it, look. And what that means is, when you get your piece of card and you add your piece of card, your stencil will be held. But we want to just make a panel, but I wanted to show you the little gadgety bits. If I've gone a bit fast, rewind it and have a look. It's very simple. So I'm just going to take some Lavinia low tack tape, and I'm just going to prepare my piece of card ready. And all I'm going to do is put one piece of tape down this side, and you can use your mat to line it up. And then I'm going to have 2 pieces down this side, because if I only put one, I'm going to go over that edge. I know what I'm like. And then back in with our lovely tool, and I'll just check you can see it. Now if I lift this off, I've marked my mat. Now this is if it works, and I reckon if I put my, and you can again line it up on the grid, and if I put this back in on the second, and what that means is, can you see? It's in here, but I could choose if I wanted to move it that way or that way, if I'd got a longer piece. But my stencil is covering the whole of my card. That is important. Do check that your stencil covers the whole of your card. But as I say, I've put little marks, look, on my mat, so I know for a 7 by 5, if I put it there, and I'm going with the adapter, and on the second lot of notches in the middle, that will line up perfectly for me. That makes sense. I hope I've explained that okay. And I'm just going to turn this round just because for me it's easier to work this way. And I'm going to come in with Lemon Drop, the wonderful new Lemon Drop, the Pink Elephant and Blue Atoll. And all I'm going to do, oh, these colours are so lush. And I have to be mindful, my Blue Atoll is an older ink, so it's not as bright, so I may have to put more on. It's an older ink pad, but the new ones are so juicy. So I'm going to come in at the top with the yellow. And I'm going to blend about 1/3 of the way down. And I want this lovely and vibrant, so I'm actually coming in straight from the ink pad. Then I'm going to go into the pink. Now the pink, mine is so juicy, look, I'm using the lid. And again, you learn your ink pads. I've always said this before, you know, it's a bit like you're cooking. If ever you get a new oven, I don't know about you, but it takes me a bit to get used to my oven. And I know the temperature, say 180 is 180, but it's not always on every oven, is it? I mean, I know it sounds daft, I seem to have some ovens that are hotter. So you'll get to know your ink pads. Now, what I'm doing now is I've put pink sort of the middle third, and then I'm just going to work in this little area where the yellow and the pink will overlap. And once I've got most of the colour off the brush, looks, when I've got less, I just go into that yellow. And then come back with the yellow and blend into that pink. And I'm just working on that area where I want that orange. And I think that looks a lovely blend. So then we'll come into the blue and start at the bottom. And as I say, my Blue Atoll is an older ink pad, so I know I've got to build this colour up. Note to self, I need a new blue ink pad. But I like the blend of it with the pink. It makes this lovely lilac-y colour. So even if it takes me a bit, I like the colour tones. And as I say, this is our Honeycomb stencil. This works well, so many different stencils. I hope you have a go. And if you've got dexterity problems and it hurts your hands to hold a stencil down, this is just the ticket for you. But also it means if you wanted to come on and add some glaze, it's in exactly the right place. You can take it off, wash your stencil, come back, add glaze, add your grunge paste. Clever bit of kit. So now I'm just going, when I've got less ink on my brush, into that pink. And then I'll come back with my pink brush. Again, I'm not adding any more ink. I'm just going to blend what's there. And that's half the thing. Don't over ink. Use that. Just blend what's there. Now I am going to come in with a bit more blue just because mine's quite faint. But I'm liking the look of that. And I'm just going to darken this edge. Right, so we've got yellow, orange, pink, lilac-y purple and blue. So I can lift this off. Let's have a look. Yeah, look at that. Lovely. So I'm just going to put the lids. So the Blue Atoll, the Pink Elephant, Lemon Drop. I think that is going to be a combination I am going to be using. Now, what I can do at this point, I just need to stamp my lovely Bumble and Hum. So I'm going to get the stamping plate, pop it in, and then find Bumble and Hum. And I always clean my stamps, and this is why. Because I'm just going to turn this round, look, and I'm going to place them. I want him at the bottom because he's a larger bee, and then that's my smaller, and just so because they're nice and clean, I can just pop them straight. Pick them up. Just about makes it over the doesn't hit my recording tablet. So I'm going to add some black ink. I've just gone for the VersaFine Clair, the Nocturne. And we'll give them a stamp. Lift it up. And actually, we don't need to go again. I can take that off. I can file this on the floor next to Eric. And there we go. So what I am going to do is just add some yellow sparkle, my lovely yellow Posca, the sparkle. And then that'll have time to dry while we look at Bumble and Hum and add some colour. Now you can take your tape off if you want your sparkle to extend, but I want to keep the white space white. Now colouring. I did stamp some extra Bumble and Hums on just some spare paper, and we're going to decoupage. So my colours of choice in my Mondelez pencils are 3, 5 and 15. And I'm just going to add a little bit of blue to the wings on here. And you know me, speed colouring, we've done this before. And all I'm going to do is a little bit of orange at the bottom, literally on his bottom, and then the yellow. And then just to blend those colours, the lovely clear Wink of Stella. And I'll just come into the yellow and into the orange. And this will also blend, but give me some sparkle. And I'm just going to clean that, get rid of the yellow, so that then I can go into the blue. And I'll cut that out, but I have got a couple I've already cut out. And on here, I just want to extend that blue a little. I am going to decoupage these. And just before I decoupage them, this is the clean colour and this is 901 Grey Tint. And just before, I just want to add a little bit of shade. And it just makes all the difference, this. And I don't want it to be too obvious, but it'll just add to the whole design. Little bit so it looks like the wings, especially when you're decoupaging. Now, if you're one of our lovely new friends and followers, and it's so nice to hear from you, this is Lavinia low-tack tape. Fabulous. It really is low-tack. Look, it comes off, not a problem. But if you're worried, get your heat tool and just give it a quick, this is what they call one of those crafty hacks. Give it a quick heat with your heat tool. And what it'll do is help to melt the glue, look, so that your low-tack tape will just come off like, look at that. Now, I am going to add a sentiment, and this is from our sentiment stickers, and you'd be glad to know I've chosen one ahead of time, because you know what I'm like for dithering. So much choice. I thought I'd be good today. And you know me, I tend to pop it on my scissors just to decide, do I put it there, or I could put it here, I could put it at the top. Well, in fact, I might be different on this, because I might put one at the top, and then now I've got to look for another, you know. So I'm going to go sunshine, because I think a quiet time in the sunshine watching the bees is fabulous. And then maybe just so it blends, look at that, so it looks nice, that nice cohesive design. The grey will give that a bit of a, just on the right hand side and underneath, again, just to go with that shadow. And then our lovely bees that we've cut out. And a little tip, I use the wings to hold them. Bippity boppity glue, dries clear. So a little bit on the body, and then I can just jiggle it, look, with the wing. And this way the wing is slightly raised, but not very raised. So if I want to put this, I can put it flat to go in the post. I don't know about you, but here I post it. Seems to get more expensive every time I post a card. So, right, lid on, always important. And look at that. We've got our lovely design, but really it's this blending on the stencil I just want to show you. So just to remind you, all I would do, take my stencil off, and it just peels off, look. That I'm going to spritz and put that in my journal. This goes back in its bag, and this, look, I've saved this cover, so I can put that back on there, put it back in its packet, and then that will be ready to use again and again. And I'm just putting it at the front because I know that's the one that I'm using. And I love things that they're not just a, you know, one-time use. And I think if you need a quick card, as we all do from time to time, or if Mr. Mojo, if you're struggling a bit, I bet you've got so many fabulous stencils that this lovely colour combination would work well. Let's do some rainbows. Well, it's sort of a rainbow, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you have a go. Have you got your lovely stamp and spin and your stamp and stencil tools? Have a go. This is just something a little bit different. And it's, if you've got dexterity problems, honestly, for me, game changer. Absolute game changer. And great if you want to do a bit of double stenciling. Because, again, I might come back and do another one of those for you. If you've not seen double stenciling, I love that. So, thanks as always for popping in. You take care, enjoy your evening, and guess what? I'll see you again tomorrow. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.